Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something I think we can all relate to, reclaiming our own peace of mind from, well, the chaos of other people's actions. We're going to talk about how to stop pouring all our energy into things we just can't control so we can finally focus on the things we can. So let's just start with a really honest question, one that gets right to the heart of so much of our daily stress. Think about it. Does a random comment from a coworker, a friend canceling plans at the last second, or a weird look from a family member, does that stuff have the power to totally wreck your mood for the rest of the day? If you're nodding along, then yeah, you are in exactly the right place.
It's funny. Most of our stress doesn't actually come from what other people do. It comes from our constant and frankly exhausting effort to manage it all. Their actions, their feelings, even what they think about us. We're basically trying to control the uncontrollable, and it's no wonder we're all so burnt out.
And let's talk about a big one, people pleasing. We tend to think of it as just being nice, but let's reframe that for a second. It's actually a form of control. It's a coping skill, probably one you learned as a kid, where you try to manage how other people see you so you can feel safe or accepted. You're trying to micromanage their perception of you. Kind of wild when you think about it that way, right? The thing is, we have this whole relationship with control completely backwards. We burn ourselves out pouring all this energy into that list on the left, things that are, let's be honest, impossible to change. Meanwhile, our real power, our actual power, is sitting right there in the list on the right, totally neglected. Your actions, your boundaries, that's where the magic happens. So, have you ever had one of those moments where your emotional reaction feels like a 10 out of 10, but the situation was maybe a 2? When that happens, there's almost always a deeper reason. You're not just reacting to what's happening right now. Something older has been poked. That's what we call an emotional trigger. And figuring out those triggers really means tracing them back to where they started, which, a lot of the time, is an old wound from when we were kids. This 5-step process is a fantastic map for that. You learn to connect the big reaction to its real source, see the story you made up as a kid to make sense of it, and then, and this is the key part, you use your adult brain to realize that story doesn't have to be true anymore. That's how you stop the past from running the show. Okay, so now that we get the problem, this whole mess of misplaced control and hair-trigger emotions, let's talk about the solution. And it's a concept that is so simple it's almost deceptive, but trust me, it's a complete game changer. That's it. That's the whole thing. Just 2 words. This phrase, which Mel Robbins really brought into the spotlight, is the key. It's not magic, but it is a powerful pattern interrupt. It's a tool you can use in the heat of the moment to stop that automatic stress reaction and snatch your emotional power right back.
Now, let's be super clear. This is not about being passive. This isn't about becoming a doormat. It's about radical acceptance. It's about looking a situation in the eye and recognizing you absolutely cannot control what other people think, feel, or do, and then choosing to stop wasting your precious life force trying.
But here's where it gets really good, because it's not just about letting go. It's a 2-part system. Let them is the release, right? That's you dropping the rope. But the second part, let me, is where you take all that energy you just saved and point it right back at the only thing you can control, yourself. So let them be wrong about me, frees you, and then let me focus on my own integrity, empowers you. See how that works? All right, so let's get practical. How do we actually do this? Let them doesn't mean you just let people walk all over you. Not at all. It means reclaiming your power, and the number 1 tool for that is setting good, clear, healthy boundaries. The best way to think about boundaries is like the rules of engagement you set up to protect your own well-being. Animals in the wild do this all the time, totally instinctively, to cut down on stress and avoid harm. For us humans, we often have to learn it, but believe me, it is just as crucial for our survival and our peace of mind. And setting good boundaries really follows 5 pretty simple rules. You have to start by being clear, of course, but honestly, the most important one on this list is number 5, be consistent. Because a boundary that you don't enforce isn't really a boundary at all. It's just a suggestion. Okay, this mindset is also a superpower when it comes to another huge challenge, criticism. Criticism is probably one of the fastest ways we let other people get inside our heads and control our emotions. But with a little bit of emotional intelligence, we can totally stop it from torpedoing our self-confidence. This right here is such a powerful reframe. I mean, think about it. Instead of hearing an attack, what if you just chose to hear helpful feedback that was delivered badly? That simple little mental flip lets you hunt for the useful nugget of truth without getting completely bogged down by the sting of how it was said. And if you follow these 5 steps, you can process criticism without letting it crush you. You stop that initial gut punch, you look for the actual feedback, you consider where it's coming from, and you remember that in the end, this experience can actually make you stronger. You are in control of what those words mean to you. So what's the end game here? What's the ultimate goal of all this hard work? Well, it all comes down to building personal autonomy. And this isn't just a fancy word for independence. It is the absolute foundation of true, unshakable resilience. Autonomy is a core psychological need for all of us. It's that feeling that we are the authors of our own lives. When we practice Let Them, we stop letting other people's choices and opinions dictate our story. We start making our own choices based on our own values. And this is what happens when we don't have that sense of control. When we're just constantly reacting to everyone else, we get emotionally dysregulated. And that kicks off a really nasty negative cycle. It leads to impulsive decisions, tons of conflict in our relationships, and it just makes everything feel so much harder. By practicing Let Them and really leaning into Let Me, we start to build these 3 pillars of self-governance. We learn to keep our own emotional balance no matter what chaos is swirling around us. We learn to think for ourselves instead of just absorbing other people's opinions. And most importantly, we learn to act in a way that is genuinely true to who we are. So, in the end, letting go of the illusion of control over other people is actually how we step into our true power. It frees up this incredible amount of mental and emotional energy. The whole focus shifts. It's not about managing them anymore, it's about building you. And that leaves us with one final, and I think pretty exciting question to think about.